Hello everyone, and welcome to Galaxy 89 Cars. Today, thanks to Lamborghini Tunbridge Wells, I'm taking you on an in-depth exterior and interior tour and exhaust video of this 2020 Lamborghini Huracan Evo. Lamborghini Tunbridge Wells currently have this, in addition to many of the high specification cars for sale, and all of their contact details can be found in the description of the video. First released in 2014, the Lamborghini Huracan has been presented in a few different variants, but has remained essentially the same. Other than the track-focused Performante, the Evo is the base car's first real exterior and interior update, and as its name suggests, is an evolution, not revolution, of the original car. Based on a hybrid aluminium and carbon fibre chassis with aluminium panels, Evo comes in at 4,518mm long, 59mm longer than its predecessor, 2,236mm wide including the mirrors, 1,165mm high with the standard suspension, and has a dry weight of 1422 kilograms, with a distribution of 43% to the front and 57% to the rear. We can now focus on Evo's powertrain, but before we can view the engine, we first need to unlatch the rear hatch. This can be done by first putting the ignition on and then pressing the button to the right of the driver's footwell. Then moving around to the rear, the optional glass hatch can be opened and self-supported. Evo is powered by essentially the same engine as the Performante, a rear mid-mounted 5.2-litre naturally aspirated V10 that produces 631 brake horsepower and 600 Nm of torque, an increase of 30 brake horsepower and 40 Nm on the previous base car. This output produces a 0 to 62 mph or 100 km/h time of 2.9 seconds and a top speed of greater than 202 mph. This represents a decreased 0 to 62 mph time of 0.3 seconds and enhanced top speed by 1 mph. Once finished in the rear, the hatch can be easily brought down and fixed below with a light press. Now moving to Evo's wheels, this car comes with the optional 20-inch diamond-cut Acer alloys at the front and back. These are one of 4 design options that each have different finishes available. Braking is provided by ventilated and drilled ceramic discs at each corner, 380mm at the front and 356mm at the rear. These brakes are standard and can stop the car from 62 mph or 100 km/h in 31.9 meters. Stability is provided by magneto-rheological front and rear fully independent double wishbones with a 5th generation Haldex all-wheel drive system that comes with a rear mechanical self-locking differential. And despite being all-wheel drive, this system ensures a 70-30 rear drive bias. Just as in Aventador S, Huracan Evo comes with all-wheel steering called Lamborghini Dynamic Steering. This provides greater agility at lower speeds and stability at higher speeds. These physical components are managed by the Lamborghini Integrated Vehicle Dynamics system that actively adjusts the car to the driver's input and road conditions. Now we've finished the model overview, we can start the exterior in-depth tour from front to back, making comparisons to the first generation Huracan as we progress. The front has very noticeable changes. Centrally, the upright struts are now connected horizontally. Below, new dual vents send 2 channels of air under the car to the waiting diffuser, enhancing stability. Moving laterally, the side intakes now come with a Y-shaped panel that improves downforce. These also facilitate a greater amount of air passing through to optimize lateral aero around the disruptive front wheels. Moving up, the projector headlights and distinctive Y-shaped LED daytime running lights are unchanged. Moving back, the small bonnet with its 2 dynamic lines is also unchanged, as is the windscreen with its dual wipers behind. Continuing back, the roof still holds its dynamic form and ridges on either side, created from connected V-shapes. We can now move to Evo's lateral aspect. The extended side skirt appears unchanged, but the intake to the rear has been widened at the bottom and now comes with a fin, once again to aid airflow. Moving up, the forward-directed, hexagonal, electrically adjustable wing mirrors are unchanged, as are the slim, integrated door handles behind. Moving up, and on the right side here, we come to the fuel tank flap that can be opened and closed with a light depress. Evo has a fuel tank capacity of 80 litres, with the car returning a combined MPG of 15. Moving back, and behind the small rear windows, Huracan's 2-stage air intakes for the engine are unchanged. Continuing back, this car comes with the optional and unchanged glass engine cover, with gloss vents on either side and open section to the rear to optimise cooling. Just behind the opening, we find the new suspended spoiler. This new structure aids the car's aesthetic, but also provides improved rear downforce while still allowing air to flow freely underneath. Now moving to the very rear of Evo, there's a new, small ducktail under the spoiler. The LED brake light strip has been moved up and integrated into this. On either side, the Y-shaped rear light complexes are also unchanged, as is the long grilled section for cooling below. The area under this is inspired by Performante and comes with a new central bridge and significantly more open area below for greater cooling. Within this, we find the Performante-inspired dual exhaust outlets, raised and changed from the angular quad tips in the original car. On either side, the grille is extended with fins for cooling and to control airflow coming from the rear arches. Below these are new vents that also allow greater air to flow from the rear arches, improving stability further. Moving centrally, the diffuser has been significantly extended both laterally and vertically, and the channels under the car now come with enhanced vents. All of these changes result in a 5 times greater aero load than the previous generation Huracan models. Let's hear how Evo sounds, first with the valves closed and then open. Now we've finished the exterior tour, we can move inside. Evo comes with a standard Lamborghini key with controls for lock, the front boot lid and unlock. Once unlocked, the integrated handles can be pushed out by depressing at the front and then used to open the low doors. The interior of this Evo has been spec'd in extended leather with Giallo Taurus accents and the Q Satura pack that adds a distinctive hexagonal quilting style. Carbon skin, which is a thin carbon material that weighs 28% less than Alcantara, can also be spec'd throughout the cabin. We can now start the interior in-depth tour with the doors. The doors come in generally the same format as in the LP610-4 and start with an angular leather panel that ends with an LED lock indicator. The central door panel here comes with the Q Satura quilting, but can also come in carbon skin. As we move along, we come to the door release and internal lock controls. The slim armrest handle starts above with dual contrast stitch and gradually becomes the door handle with the controls for electric mirrors. Moving down, the bottom of the door curves around and offers a slim open storage area with the motion sensor button and first speaker from the standard system. An optional HD 10-speaker Sensonum system is also available that would add a speaker to the top of the door. Now moving inside, Evo offers a standard ground clearance of 135mm and is easy to move in and out of as the sill is quite low but not wide. Moving along the sill, we first come to the standard stainless steel embossed kickplate. A forged composite version can also be spec'd. As we move up, we find the aluminium pedals, buttons for front and rear hatches, buttons for exterior lighting and cruise control, and the first manually adjustable air vent. This can also be finished in forged composite carbon, such as that seen in Performante. Looking left, we come to the steering wheel. Here, it's in the standard leather, but can also come with Alcantara inserts or full Alcantara. Taking a closer look, this flat bottom wheel is the same as in its predecessor, coming with contrast stitch, then buttons for beams and indicators to the left, with buttons to adjust instrument information below, then buttons for the wipers and cruise control to the right, and finally the drive mode selector below. To turn the car and its screens on, the now recognisable fighter jet inspired ignition button needs to be depressed. Before we can move to the screen, we find the large gearshift paddles for the 7-speed LDF double-clutch transmission. The general layout of the digital instrument cluster is generally the same, but the design has changed. It starts to the left with vehicle status and engine temperature, mileage, revs, gear and speedo, fuel level and basic trip info to the right. This screen takes inspiration from the Performante with the styles it displays when transitioning through the different modes, Strada, Sport and Corsa. Moving up, we come to the leather and Alcantara upholstered dash. This area can come with forged composite on the vents and atop the instrument hood cover, but the standard finish has been selected here. Now moving down onto the central column, we first come to these unchanged, dual, manually adjustable air vents that, as previously mentioned, can be finished in the forged composite. The first feature on the central column are these unchanged buttons for, from left to right, passenger window, optional lift system, ESC on-off, hazard lights, parking sensors, engine start-stop, and the driver's electric window. The mass of different physical controls that were below these in the previous Huracans has been replaced by this new 8.4-inch screen called Human-Machine Interface. The top of this screen allows the user to adjust climate controls such as front demist, auto AC, temperature, AC and recirculation. The small tab below this can be expanded to allow the user to adjust the temperature, fan speed, air direction and the 3-stage heating on these comfort seats. Coming back to the main menu, the first of the 3 main options is Vehicle. Here, the Lamborghini Integrated Vehicle Dynamics or LDVI, which is the driving management system, can be accessed, in addition to lighting, assists and sensors. Media comes after for the management of connected devices, then telephone for contacts, calls and messages. Moving left, the first option is for general settings such as display, language, date and time. Below settings we come to the radio for the FM and full DAB digital radio with station list. To the right, the first option is phone apps, which can be used to access apps such as Waze and Spotify, facilitated by an external device. Under this, sound allows the user to adjust a media player balance and equalizer, and volume controls for individual functions. The final option is navigation. The screen can be manually moved around and zoomed in and out of, and there's even a 3D view function. Before we move away from this segment of the central column, we can roll over the side to take note of the open storage. Now moving down from the HMI, we come to the now iconic engine on off button. Behind this is the main control array. It starts with the drive selectors for reverse, park and manual, with the electronic parking brake behind. Moving back, there's a small fixed armrest with an open storage area and 12-volt input behind. Just above this there are 2 USB inputs, restricted access into the rear storage shelf, and a view of the engine via the rear port window. On either side of the central column, we of course come to the seats. This Evo comes with the fully electric and heated comfort seats with the Q-Satira quilting, but sports seats and full carbon racing seats are also available. All movement controls can be found to the outside edge of each seat. Now moving to the rear storage shelf, the seats can be moved forward by pulling the lever to the outside shoulder up and then pulling them forward. This exposes the very usable 70-litre rear storage shelf and 2 speakers. Once finished, the seats can be easily fixed back into position. Now moving to the remaining storage, we can start with the glove compartment. It can be opened using the catch to the right and offers a slim illuminated amount of storage. It's also possible to spec a deployable cup holder in the dash above the glove compartment. Now moving outside, we can view the front boot. That can be opened using the key or the button on the inside. Once unlocked, it can be easily unlatched and lifted up to be self-supported. This front storage area offers up to a maximum of 150 litres of capacity. Taking a closer look at this space, we find a small tool and puncture repair kit. A 12-volt socket and illumination. Handbook and car cover, and a famous white Lamborghini glove to the right. Once finished here, the boot lid can be brought down and closed with a firm press at the front. We can now move back inside briefly to view the car's final few features. Looking up, the ceiling comes with the optional Q-Satira quilting. Looking ahead, we find slim sun visors with vanity mirrors. Moving centrally, we find the LED reading lights and controls and open door warning. Finally, the seamless rearview mirror is below. So that concludes my in-depth exterior and interior tour and exhaust video of this 2020 Lamborghini Huracan Evo for sale with Lamborghini Tunbridge Wells at the time of publishing. All of their contact details can be found in the description of the video. Please subscribe for the latest content, and until next time, thanks for watching.